Simplifying fractions. Simplifying fractions is writing them as the smallest possible integers that is still an equivalent fraction. So if Tina ate 2 pieces out of an 8-slice pizza, she's obviously eaten the fraction 2 out of 8. Simplifying fractions is saying, well, what if actually our denominator was smaller? What if we'd only cut it up into 4 pieces? She would have eaten 1 piece of that, which is 1 out of 4. So it's basically saying, can we divide both the numerator and the denominator by a common factor to simplify our fraction so it's got the smallest possible whole numbers or integers? Very quickly, we do need to review Lcm and Hcf. Remember that multiples are basically the times tables of a number. So the first 3 multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24 times 1 times 2 times 3. Multiples, of course, of a number are infinite. They go on forever. Factors of a number are the numbers which divide evenly into that number with no remainder, or we could also think of them as pairs of numbers that multiply to give our number. So the factors of 24 always have 1 and the number itself. It's even, so we've got 2. Then always look at these to spot other factors if you need to. So if I've got 12, I know that I've got 6, 3, and 4 as well. 3, 4, 6, and they have to come in pairs unless it's a square number. So like 6 times 6 is 36. If you're looking at factors of 36, you'd only list 6 once. So I'm missing one. I'm missing the one that goes with 3, which is 8. Put them in order. You've listed all the factors of 24. Factors of a number are incredibly important in a whole bunch of mathematics. You should be able to confidently list factors of any reasonably sized whole number. You should remember from year 7, lowest common multiple. If I've asked for the lowest common multiple of 2 numbers, you list a set of their multiples. So we got the multiples of 8. Do a few. That's the multiples of 8. Good grief, there's Uplantalk. Multiples of 6. And as soon as you get one that's on both lists, that is your lowest common multiple. We need lowest common multiples for finding equivalent fractions to let us add and subtract fractions. So you need to confidently be able to find a lowest common multiple. It will never be higher, but might sometimes equal the product of these two. So 6 times 8 is 48. You know it won't be higher than 48 because 48 is obviously a multiple of both 8 and 6. Highest, now you don't always have to list these when you're dealing with fractions, just demonstrating how we think it through. Highest common factor of 2 numbers, the highest number that goes into both numbers. Do check that the smaller one doesn't go evenly into the larger one. Nope, because your HCF will never be larger than the smaller of your 2 numbers, but it might equal the smaller number. If not, list the 2 factors if you can't think of them. We listed 24 before. List the factors of 18. And find the highest number that's on both lists. You should remember this from year 7. And of course, if you can get the LCM or the HCF without listing everything, that's fine. I don't need to see working. So here are some things we need to be able to do with fractions. We need to be able to confidently simplify them, showing working and understanding why it works. You can do this with your calculator, but you must know why you can simplify. Simplifying means to represent with the smallest possible integers and to find an equivalent fraction. You simplify by cancelling out a common factor between the top and the bottom. So we look for the HCF. The HCF of 8 and 20 is 4. I could write 8 as 4 times 2, and I could write 20 as 4 times 5. Now this is actually two separate fractions multiplied together. This is 4 over 4 times 2 over 5. And 4 over 4 is 1. 1 times 2 over 5 must just equal 2 over 5. So the reason I can simplify a fraction by cancelling out a pair of common factors at top and bottom is that that pair of common factors really just equals 1. And 1 times anything is just that. So you don't need to show this line of working. I've just separated them out to show you that this is 1. You can simply cancel out the two common factors. It's effectively 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 1 times 2 is 2. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 1 times 5 is 5. So to simplify this one, 25 over 15, the HCF is 5. This is 5 times 5. This is 5 times 3. We cancel out the 5s, because I can divide the top and the bottom by 5 without actually changing its meaning, and I get 5 over 3. To check your simplification with your calculator, just use the fraction key. 25 over 15 equals 5 over 3. I'm quite happy with you leaving it as an improper fraction or making it a mixed number, but as we get into further levels of maths, an improper fraction is often more useful. We need to be able to find a common denominator. That's where we use our LCM. We're asking, this was cut into 4 pieces, this was cut into 3 pieces. What could I do to get them to both be cut into the same number of pieces? 8 won't work. I can't do anything once it's been cut into 3 pieces to get it to 8. I need to find the LCM. And the LCM of 4 and 3 is 12. So I will get both of these to be an equivalent fraction over 12. 3 over 4 times what gives me something over 12? 4 times 3 would give me 12. And the reason I can do this is I'm multiplying by 3 over 3. I'm multiplying by 1. I'm not changing the meaning of my fraction at all. Multiplying by 1, it equals the same thing. I'm just cutting it into more pieces and getting more pieces. 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 over 4 becomes 9 over 12. 5 over 3. To get 3 to be 12, I've got to multiply by 4. So I multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So I'm not changing the meaning of my fraction. I've got 20 over 12. I've got a common denominator. And remember, I also need to be able to change between mixed numbers and improper fractions. Here's a mixed number. I've got 3 wholes and 5 over 8, which means I've effectively got 3 over 1 plus 5 over 8. And to add fractions, we need a common denominator. How would I get 1 to be 8? I'd times by 8. So I'd times by 8 on the top and bottom. I've got 24 over 8 plus 5 over 8, which says I've got 29 over 8. Basically, 3 lots of 8 get added to the top. Changing back, 25 over 6. How many times does 6 go into 25? It goes in 4 times. I've got 24 over 6 plus 1 over 6. 24 divided by 6 is my even part that divides out to give me 4 and 1 over 6. So it's really all about common denominators and HCFs.